Okay, and we are live. Hello everybody. Let's get that chat nice and big. There we go. Hi everybody, how are we doing today? Today we are returning to our Darkwater set as we paint the fourth. Good evening, Greyslayer, how are you? As we paint the fourth main villain of the villains of Darkwater, and this is Mulgoth the Cleaver. So, unlike all my other figures, I've sprayed those grey before, so I've done a black base this time, so something a little bit different. But it will still be fine, because I'm going in with lots of greens anyway, so it might just mean I need a few extra layers, but it will still look good, I have no doubt. But anyway, how is everybody? I can always tell I'm doing anything Nurgle because every single green I own more or less comes into play. And I have quite a few greens. Right, let's get a photo up, which I already have prepared, so just going to grab that photo so I can see where I want to start. Once again, the little man is off with Mr. Nerd elsewhere in the house. Okie dokie. For reference, I'm good, just prepping over for tomorrow's stream. Awesome. Hope you had a good day. It's been okay, it's been pretty busy to be honest. We've had, I've done another video. This is the look we're going for, by the way, the traditional look that goes with the game. Managed to do a video for tomorrow. Just need to edit that tomorrow when little man is hopefully sleeping. Because, gosh, that took me a while. The little man is the definition of a Velcro baby. So whatever I do, he has to be involved in some way. Otherwise, he cries and gets very upset. But obviously, like I said before, like in a few years' time, I'll be missing those cuddles, so I will take them whilst I can get them. Because when he's older, he won't want to give them to me, I'm sure. So I'll take them whilst I got them. How's your day been? I'm going to begin with a base of Leadbelcher, because what I did for his armour last time is I painted a metallic base and then went over with the contrast paint in Plaguebearer Flesh, obviously very aptly named. So I'll be doing that again, because I really liked how that looked when I did one of the previous villains. My brain is completely fried. But yes, I'll do a base of a metallic, and then I'll go over with the contrast paint to kind of create a green metallic look for his armour. It was a very slow day today. Any particular reason? Or just kind of just dragged for you? Directly across from me is my kitchen, and I can already see my cats causing some form of mischief. So I think today is going to be an interesting stream. Hopefully they settle and behave themselves, but only time will tell. I'd finished all of my scheduled work by around 10 and spent the rest of the day doing some self-learning, trying to fill the time. I mean, that's very good though, that you managed to kind of defy your schedule. But then at the same time, you're a bit like, what do I do now? I have nothing else planned for this space. What do I do with it? Took a look at that Pokemon Lego stuff you were talking about, and my god. Over in the Discord, for anybody who's wondering, anybody else who's listening what we're talking about, over in the Discord, which is linked in the description down below, you can join if you would like to know a bit more what we're talking about. But the price, gosh, Lego is very expensive now. It's like you're just paying for the brand of Lego rather than the product itself, I swear. When the ramp to Xmas, I was able to work from home half the day, which meant I could essentially get on with other stuff while the work was dribbling in. But I'm full-time now and have to be in, so it sucks. Lol, yeah, I was like, they are cool, and then the price floored me. Yes, to be honest, that's kind of how we feel. We've collected the Star Wars helmets, so we've got a collection of the helmets at the moment. But the price of some of them, like, first of all, we have to make sure 100% we actually want it for the price now. And yeah, we're just looking at going, really? Like, yes, we can say the same about all this stuff. Like, yes, it's plastic. What we're painting now is plastic. But, you know, it's plastic. Why are we spending £600? All of his chainmail and stuff I'm going to do in a bronze colour. And there's certain, like, filigree on his chest that I will go back in with bronze afterwards. Yeah, it's looking like more or less every day for the next couple of weeks. It'll probably be me streaming whilst Mr. Nerd tries to get everything set up, because his laptop's been having, his PC's been having a few issues with logging him out for some random reason, which isn't the best when you're trying to stream. So until he gets that sorted, it will be me streaming more or less once a day, if not every other day. But we have no reason for it to be more or less than every day, really. Good morning, Mrs. Nerd and Chat. How are you, Bocat? Originally the plan was to go live at 6, but the little nerdling had other plans and decided that that is apparently his feeding time. So it ended up being 6:30. But you know what the little one demands, he gets. Currently running on his schedule rather than one of our own. And whatever he allows us to do. So before I go any further, what actually is, or who actually is, Mulgoth the Cleaver? Doing well. It's hobby night tonight at my LGS, so looking forward to that. Lovely. Okay. So he's a long-time servant of the gruesome Gelgus Pust, the Prince of Swords, brought by his own hand and his own cleaver. He is a Blight King. And he stands out from the crowd amongst the maggot kin of Nurgle and indeed the Warhammer quest Darkwater. Well, he's a bit of a larger boy, so that's for sure. He definitely stands out. Yeah, so far today I've managed to do a video, make a suit from scratch, and now this. So, and obviously keep a small infant child alive, so far I'm doing well. I call that a successful day. Looking forward to seeing some photos and stuff of upcoming armies for 2026 in the Discord. So far, it's just a lot of silver on this character, but once I get onto his arm, his postular arm, that's when the fun will really begin with all the colours. Feels good to be doing some Darkwater again. Obviously, a lot of other creators and stuff have like finished this now. How far through painting the Darkwater set are you? So I'm on to the villains now. Obviously, painted all of the heroes. This is the 4th of the villains, but this is like the main 4. After this, I've still got like a bunch of figures to paint. So I think it's safe to say I'm just under halfway. In fact, I'll quickly grab the box and show you the figures that still need to be sprayed and painted. You'll see what I mean. Don't let this box deceive you. A lot of these figures are very much the same thing. But in there's all Darkwater. So I have obviously some larger figures like these guys, and they'll take me a minute. But then I have got some very small figures in there. I have stuff like these. So, but then, you know, stuff like the Kelpies and things that aren't going to take you very long to paint in retrospect. And there's quite a few of those in there. So, it's a collection that still needs to be worked through, but we will get there. I'll start getting some of my stuff up there soon, just been busy with work and my channel stuff. I'm working on Dark Angels at the moment, though, which is my army for the start of the year, at least. Well, I'm a big fan of that, because Dark Angels are my army also, so I'm a fan of that. But yeah, I've got all of that still to paint for Darkwater, so it's not quite done yet. Oh yes, there's like the basic enemies. Yeah, so you kind of have like the 4 main villains, which are Gelgus Pust, Belga the Cyst Witch, Mulgoth the Cleaver, and Shaman Foulhoof, which was the last one I did before obviously Little Man came. So those are the main 4, and then you have like the subcategories of those who are underneath those. Sorry, yawning. But these are kind of the lesser enemies as such. These are the minions. I think I'll do my bronze next. And for that I'm going to actually use Brass Scorpion. I love this paint. Obviously it's a lovely colour, but it's also so smooth. And again, it's nice to use a colour that is not... Oh, hi everyone, I hope everyone is okay. The Nurgling slumbers. Good. I'm glad. Hopefully that means you can relax a little bit before you start screaming again. Just applying this over any of the chainmail. Normally I go for like Balthazar Gold for this, but I used this today and I remembered how much I like it, so it's being used for my chainmail. And like I said, this silver that I've got all over it's going to be painted over with some... it's going to be covered in a green contrast paint. So that will stand out really well against this actually in the end. Let's go for it to fully dry before I go in with the contrast paint though. We'll go over this little piece though and kind of do a few little bits of the bronzy colour. It's got this like loinclothy thing underneath, but I thought if I paint this first, then I can go around and kind of clean up any edges when I paint that after. There we go. Little sip of tea before it goes cold. Move on to his arm now whilst the silver dries. I'm going to start with a base of, if it focus, flayed one flesh for that. In fact, no, I'll go in with Kislev flesh because it is more of a fleshy colour rather than a dead skin colour, so I'll go with Kislev flesh instead. And although this is pale, it has a little bit of life in it still. So I'm going to need a few layers of this, just because it's such a dark base. Thing about these, like whenever I do anything plaguey, the grosser it looks, I know the more fun I'm going to have doing it, just because I really enjoy painting anything Nurgle. I love being able to make it gross. The channel has now also officially been going for a year. So we're officially at the 5th of this month was our 1 year anniversary for the channel, which has flown by. And also really awesome to see how much it's grown in a year. And we've officially also done over 100 videos. So, safe to say we've painted quite a few figures in that last year. Definitely been practicing, that's for sure. Mulgoth stuff is really fun to paint for sure. Weathering is the same for me really, makes models come together 100%. I like doing battle damage as well, so like we've done a couple now where I took the kill team from the intro. We have 2 planned 1-year videos of Warhammer, which should be fun. We do. As I was saying, that when we were doing the kill team stuff, I was able to do some battle damage on the Angels of Death, which is the Ultramarines. They were really fun to kind of weather and do some wear and tear on. And then I took even some stuff like matches and things like that, and I was able to melt some of the capes and yeah, really make for some interesting looking figures, that's for sure. That's layer 1 for his fleshy skin tone side. And already is looking pretty disgusting. So, hey, how are you, Cools? Has everything been resolved after yesterday with everything, obviously, with your brother's car being crashed into by the drunk? That silver's dry now, so I'm going to move on to painting that contrast paint. Which for that, I'm going to use Plaguebearer Flesh. Sorry about that. Yeah, but still the military base has no power now, and the electric people have to cut out all of the road to fix the broken wire. Oh, Jesus. Very bad. I do really like how this green goes over silver. I think that's one of my aims for this year, is to just do some more with contrast paint. But my mate from school was literally investigating it. Oh! Yeah, contrast paints. Last year, like, the aim was to try and get better with highlighting, and I definitely have. I've obviously still got a long way to go, but it's definitely improved tenfold since the beginning of last year. And this year I kind of want to do some stuff with contrast paints, like maybe we're talking potentially about doing a tutorial or a video or a challenge where I paint a figure only using contrast paints. What green are you using again? Might have missed it. It is Plague Bearer Flesh. I'm getting 10 new paints. Awesome. But yeah, I kind of want to do like a challenge or something where I can paint a figure only using contrast paints or something like that. Just to kind of really push my limits, use something that I'm not 100% comfortable using. Well, I am comfortable, but something I haven't had much experience using. And trying to make something really cool out of it. I've been experimenting with the Vallejo Express Colour Paints contrast equivalent. I find they do need pretty good brush control. Yeah, I think so far with the Citadel stuff I've been okay, but I think it really just depends on which paint. Because with this one, with Plague Bearer, I've used it a few times now. I have no issues with it, but when I've used stuff like Ultramarines Blue, I find I really need to have a lot of brush control whenever I've used that one in the past. And as a result, because I haven't had like that brush control, the figures I've painted with it I've not been 100% happy with, and then I've had to redo. But again, this is all a learning experience, so hopefully over the next year I can improve on that. They are definitely inconsistent. Yes, definitely. Because like this one is beautiful. Like, especially over the metallic, it just looks so nice. Sindivs, I want to try Vallejo paints, but I'm so invested in Citadel parts. I like to chase box art. I want to expand. There is definitely so many different brands out there when it comes to paints that are really, really good, and so many things. Like, I think I've got a couple of Vallejo paints, but we haven't really used them. Maybe in the next year or so, we'll try out a different brand just to kind of compare. So if anybody wants to kind of see that kind of content, we could always do like an equivalent video, like you said, where we could do a Citadel contrast paint versus a Vallejo contrast paint equivalent or something like that, and just compare the two brands and see which one we prefer. Just also then, so you guys, obviously painters, can see different products in use. But I think Obviously, we've gone with the Citadel route because it's what was recommended to us from the start, and obviously it hasn't steered us wrong. To be honest, I've never tried Villaggio paints. I have used some diorama paints for mud texture. Yes, the diorama stuff is actually really good. Also painted my Ultramarine Sergeant on my post. I'll have to have a look at that call. But as you can see, like that contrast paint over the silver just looks amazing. I have an eclectic collection of paints: Vallejo, AK, Army Painter, and Citadel. See, I've only heard really good things about Army Painter. We've used some of their terrain stuff in the past, but we haven't used their paints. But the last time I was in Warhammer World, I was talking to another hobbyist, and he said he only uses those, and he was showing me some of his work, and it looks amazing. But yeah, I can definitely see myself delving into contrast paints a little bit this year, because I do really like the way they look. It's just having the control. I posted an orc fella in the Discord that I did using only Express Colour and a Zenithal priming. Ooh, the speed paints are amazing. I would highly suggest getting some. See, I've only heard good things about the speed paints. Could be doing some research over the next couple of days, potentially for this kind of future content for videos. Doing some comparisons, some side-by-sides. Ooh. And then your test models as well. I love the albino look. Really, really cool, though. Really, really cool. And a little orc man for D&D. He's very cool. I'll quickly show it for the camera because I know Cool doesn't have... Great shade paints when slightly thinned, yes. I want to look at the painting pens as well. It really depends how you want to use the contrast stuff. You can use it if intended essentially and replace the base coat / wash stage, or you can use it instead of washes as such, as they make for great shade paints when slightly thinned. Yeah, that's one of the main reasons why I want to do it, because obviously we have this stuff here where it's a lot of the same figures. So that's one of the other reasons why I want to have a look at contrast paints for stuff like the Kelpies, or there are the Kelpies or Selkies, I can't remember what they're called now. I think they're called Kelpies. But when you've got a lot of the exact same figure, it's good to kind of use a contrast paint to be able to do, you know, a large collection. So that's kind of the main reasons why I want to experiment with more contrast paints this year, and just see how it improves my speed, the speed of my painting, whilst not losing integrity, if that makes sense. Thank you, you're welcome. They're very cool. Right, I'm going to do another coat on his skin now. Probably going to need to do like 3 coats on his skin, I think. It would be cool to see a tutorial on using contrast paints to wet blend. That would definitely be something I'd be interested in doing. I paint most of my base of my Kelpies using layers of shade. Good to know. Very good to know. I'm just making a note of what you want to see there, Bo, because this is what I've said to people in the past. Like, if anyone has any ideas of what they want to see from us, to let us know, and we'll make a note of it and then look at putting it out. So that's been added to our notes page of future videos. I painted most of my base of my kelpies using layers of shade. What kind of shades did you use? I'll have to have a look at the because we've got actually quite a large collection. We have quite a few shade paints. I didn't realise until recently quite how many I have. And then today I was looking for one contrast paint in particular, and I couldn't find it. And I think every single one I pulled out was a shade paint, and I was like, when did we get this? So, and we have quite a large collection of Citadel paints. So it's not really a surprise that I didn't realise how many of certain types we have. With the shade paints, was it like, did you go quite traditional with the colour scheme in the sense of, did you stick with the schemes of the board, or did you kind of go with your own style? What is the Sergeant Helmet colour for the Templars? Seems to be black or red. Can hear the wee man crying. She just woke up from a little nap, I think. Okay, thank you. You're welcome. Kelpies looks very, very cool. Thank you for popping it in there. Two coats might actually be enough for the skin tone today, especially because I'm going to be going over it with some shade paints. The perk of this is actually quite a simplistic model overall in comparison, so I'll be able to move on to shading and highlighting in today's video, or at least begin shading and highlighting him. It's been going for an hour and a bit now. Just going to go back and do a few little tiny touch-ups whilst I wait for certain things to dry. and then I'll move on to painting this like loinclothy thing that he's wearing. Sorry, that was a few layers of Quelia green shade over a bone prime. It looks amazing. Works very, very well. I think it's almost close to the colour of the book slash box. It is definitely very, very close. To be honest, any kind of swampy colour will probably do quite well for them anyway. I think what I'll do is I'm going to paint the main axe of the actual cleaver using... Then I got distracted with Dark Angels. Easily done. But I didn't want to spend too much time on the Kelpies because they are more of the Gribblies. Yes, definitely. That's kind of my reason for wanting to get into the contrast paints. Because there's so many of them. Going back in with Brass Scorpion real quick. There's so many of them that it'd be so easy to kind of spend hours doing it. But if I can kind of do a base of something over all of them, still make them look good, then I'm happy. Isn't the Templar colour visor colour red? So is the Sergeant helmet different or the same? I'm not entirely sure, mate. Like when I was looking at photos, some people have painted them black, some people have painted them red. I'm recording the box tutorials as I go, working on the majority of the tabletop ready, then kind of highlighting one of them up to if you want to spend a bit more time on them, etc. Yeah, that's a really good idea. We've kind of, because that's what we'll do with a lot of this, is we've got so many figures, we'll probably just do one or two on camera when it's like a bunch of, you know, the goons. One or two goons, and then we'll paint the rest off camera, just because otherwise we'd be there forever and it would be pretty tedious to sit there and watch the exact same figure being painted 10, 15, 20 times over. I don't know how many Kelpies there are, but I know there's quite a few. But you get the general idea of what I'm saying there. Six Kelpies, yeah, and there's quite a few, and there's quite a few of the other grunts as well, so... It just definitely makes it easier when you only have to paint one or two. For the sake of tutorial purposes, if you know what I mean. 6 Kelpies, 4 treasure tokens, I want to say 14 Poxwalker thingies. Yeah, there's quite a lot of things. I'm just looking at the box and going, how many of each? The only thing where I'm going to differentiate from the footage. This weapon in the photos is kind of wrapped in like a like a cloth thing. But because of the fact it's got the bit sticking out, I'm going to make it look like barbed wire. So I'm going to paint that with lead belcher, I think. Just to make his cleaver look a little bit more sinister. 8 foul-hoof thingies, 3 armoured guys, 2 demon things, and then characters I think I'd have to check. The answer is a lot. There's a lot of them. A lot of things. Obviously you've got the main 4 characters and we've painted. This is the last of the 4 main villains now. So after this we are on to the grunts. So I'm choosing lead belcher again for the kind of barbed wire looking handle he's got here. BRB, no worries. A little bit of chainmail that I missed there. He's definitely coming together nicely. So far, I think this is the quickest figure we've painted. We've been going for an hour and a half, and his base is almost completely done. Just going to quickly paint his antlers, and then we'll be on to shading, I think. Just going to go over a few patches first, where I went in with some silver just to touch up certain spots, so I can go back in with the contrast paint just to make sure they are covered properly. Okay. Let's quickly do his little loinclothy thing. I think for that, I'll just go with flayed one flesh. Just kind of like an off-white look, and also just to kind of have a little bit of contrast between all the darker colours. Switch to one of my smaller brushes. Yeah, I think the off-white just kind of breaks up the darker scheme a lot better. And I finished the Templar Sergeant. Amazing. Gonna need to do 2 coats of this colour for sure. Also just realised we've been going for an hour, not an hour and a half, because we started half an hour later today. That is fine. But an hour in, and we're at this stage already. It's pretty impressive, if I do say so myself. Would you like to see it? Yes, love to. It's coming together pretty quickly. He's coming together real quick. But that's a good thing, because obviously it means we can move on to our shading and our highlighting. Give me 5 minutes, I've got to take some pictures. No worries at all. Just having a look at your page call, because obviously you said you've uploaded some more stuff. Very cool. Okie dokie. Just trying to decide what colour I want to do these pustule things. I'm tempted to do an orangey colour. And then use the same orange to swirl through his arm here as well. Because I think that would look quite cool. So I think that's what I'm going to do. And I'll go in with Luganeth orange. Of course, if I don't like it, I can go in with a different colour. kind of just blends in with the bronze. I'll let that dry, and once it's dry I'll go in with moot green, I think. Just because it blends in a little bit too well with that bronze. But again, the green that I've got to go over the top will cover that just fine, so that's not an issue. Right, let's do his antlers. I think for those I'll go in with some scrag brown. A nice orangish brown. And then that's everything base painted. Except for those little nodule things. I need more paint, less water there, so... have a little look at that. So I had to go get little one in her bath. I'm here for a bit, then heading off to start streaming out myself. No worries at all. For your stream stuff, is it more painting stuff or is it D&D stuff? Sergeant looks very, very good. D&D tonight, assuming I have the players. I do appreciate when creators show things not going to plan. That's the thing, like, I'm genuinely one of those people where I've done it so many times where I might not, like, always put it in a video, but I will say, oh, I tried this, it didn't work, did this instead. Because I think I'm not a pro. I'm never going to be considered... I would never consider myself a pro because you're always learning. D&D is assuming I have the players, and then the painting hang tomorrow, so might not be around for your stream tomorrow. That's fine. I'll try and be there to watch, says Rothmer. Appreciate it. Yeah, like I would never ever consider myself, no matter how long this goes on for, I will never ever consider myself a pro at anything because you're always learning something. And I think it's more beneficial for people to just kind of go, this didn't work for me, it might work for you. Like, I could easily have gone in with a different, brighter orange and I'm sure it would have looked just as good in that situation, but I just thought, no. I was doubting it anyway. Was going to consider going in with green. Happy I tried the orange, but I'll be going with the green that I was originally planning. I'm working my first ever kit bash model. Awesome. Like, they look like super, super orangey, but I'll be dry brushing those later, I think, with a... In fact, I'll just go over them with a shade paint that's a bit darker, just to dull those down a little bit. I'll probably go over them with some Agrax Earthshade, so then it's still kind of in the brownish family. Oops, got a little bit on his skin, so I'll quickly touch that up. Just kind of make them look a little bit more brown, because right now they're a super orangey brown and they look super, super vibrant in comparison to that. There we go, just covered with a little bit more Kislev flesh. It's just a Terminator helmet on a Rubik marine body. Still Kitbash is Kitbash. Right, could do a little bit more of the Flayed One flesh on his loinclothy thing. That's what I like about Duncan Rhodes. He's always giving you options to clean up or pivot. I think it's just better that way. I think because everyone can learn from each other that way. Like, in giving each other, like, giving you options or like ideas, just allows for variation when it comes to like the same models. Like, if I was to give every single one of you guys the exact same model to paint, they'd all turn out different. Like, even if I gave you the same paint colours, just because of like different styles, different levels of painting, like every single one would look different. They just would. There'd be similarities, but everyone would look different, and that's the beauty of this community. Like, even if you follow the tutorial, you can still see different strengths in different areas. There we go. Right, officially on to shading. Something I tried in my Mini of the Month video, which I quite enjoyed, was I went in with the shade Soulblight Grey just over the skin tone. So I'm going to do that over his arm, just kind of add a little bit of a grey hue to this skin, without really depositing too much colour, but it will add a little bit of a shadow. And I really just liked how it turned out, and that was on a paler colour than this. So I'm just intrigued to see how it will look on Kislev, and see how it holds up against it. So again, this figure, as much as he's coming together pretty quickly, is also a bit of like a learning one for me, because I'm still practicing things and hoping I like them. And if it doesn't, for whatever reason, you know, I'll go over it with Nuln Oil or something like that. And obviously this skin will have some layers of red and violet as well, like Druchii Violet and Carabag Crimson. I'll be using those as well on this skin, just because I love adding those colours. Gotta go, work time. Hopefully have a nice day at work, Bear, and hopefully it goes nice and quickly for you so you can enjoy your hobby night later. I'm actually getting Nuln Oil. You should, honestly. It's if you get no other shade paint, get Nuln Oil. You can use it for everything. Kind of see for yourself there, it's got like a dingy greyish hue to it, and it just kind of makes the skin look a little bit more dead, which I quite like. Let's go out the Agrax Earth shade for his antlers. And now I think I'm going to need some Nuln Oil. Minnie's looking great. I'm off to set my stuff up too. Have a really nice night, Gray. I'll see you later. Right. Going in some Agrax over these. In fact, no, I wait to go on with the ounce. It's like a little bit wet, so I'll wait for a minute because I don't want to risk spoiling those.
We should do the bass while waiting. Ooh, spooky ghost. You should do the bass.
In fact, I need to go in and do those green highlights on his weapon. I'll try to upload more of my stuff after stream, assuming I'm not too tired. If you don't do it tonight, don't worry about it. Obviously, always another day for uploading stuff. There's no rush on any of that. So, much better. Going with Moot Green again. Mr. Neb is coming down to get some more milk for the baby whilst he naps. But the green looks much better. Now, where did I misplace my Nuln Oil? Got it. Gonna use Nuln Oil over the rest of his armor. just to kind of have it look a little bit gritty. And over the bronze elements, I'm going to use Agrax Earthshade, just because I think it looks a bit better over any bronze or gold items than just Nuln Oil. Making sure I'm not going too heavy. In many places where I am, I'm just wicking off my brush on some kitchen roll. And then just kind of placing it over the area where I applied too much. Like, I'll show you an example here. Like you can see here, there's a little tiny puddle of it, which I don't want there. So all I'm doing is just wicking off moisture from my brush and placing it over those areas. And it's just sucking that paint back up. So I'm not depositing too much colour in places that I don't want it. Because then I'm maintaining control of the outcome of how I want the paint to look, the final product. There we go. Now going with some Agrax. Today could very well be a case of we will do the shading like I'm doing now, and then we will probably start the highlighting and finish it off maybe tomorrow. Just have still got some stuff to do ready for tomorrow's video. And I want to do a little bit of that before I get too tired tonight and go to bed with the wee one. Sneak peek into tomorrow's video, I shall show you. I remember what it's called, the technique again now, because my brain forgets these things. So it's called verdigris or verdigris, and it's to make like metals look oxidized. So it's just a little tutorial on how to do or how to achieve this look, which is like an oxidized metal look, which is why you can see that kind of bluish hue to the metallic. So that's tomorrow's video. There's a little sneak peek ready. so you can see what is coming out tomorrow. And it's a really quick, really simple 4-step tutorial. So super easy. Right. Now back onto the figure. Still going in with Agrax Earthshade here. But you can just see what I mean, which makes any of the bronze elements just look a little bit more gritty. To be honest, I'll probably go in with this as well, with the Nihil Oxide, the same paint I used for tomorrow's tutorial as well, just because I think it makes it look a little bit better. So I'll be using that as well in a moment. There we go. Just makes the battle axe or the cleaver look a little bit more gritty. And now I can move back onto his skin. And then once we move on to his skin and his arm is dry, we'll do the Nihil Oxide, which is a technical paint. And then we'll check how we're doing for time at that point. If we are roughly about 2 hours in, I'll probably leave the highlighting for tomorrow, but we shall see. The only negative with doing the shade paints, each stage you have to wait in between, so it takes a minute. Right. I'm going to start with, for his skin, I'm going to go in with Caribou Crimson, but I'm going to water this down a little bit, just so it's not super pigmented. But for that, because it's a shade paint, I'm just going to go in with some water. To do that, I'm not going to do anything special. I'm not going to add any mediums or anything like that to water it down. I'm just going to add extra water so it's super watered down and diluted, just so that it's not too powerful. It just makes the skin look a little bit more irritated. You can just see that arm looks so much better now it's had a wash of the Carabag Crimson. And like I said, it was super diluted down. I did like 1 drop of shade paint, maybe like 3 drops of water. And that's the result over the Kislev flesh and Soulblight Grey. And it just looks, in my opinion, very, very good. Yep, this is dry now, so now I'm going to go in with the Nihilate Oxide whilst that Carabag Crimson dries. We'll then go in with Druchii Violet, and then we will start highlighting. We won't do much, just because we've only got probably about half an hour, and then I will relieve Mr. Nerd of the wee man so that he can have a little bit of a break, and also so I can snuggle my Velcro baby. So I'm maintaining this mostly over the brass elements. And then I've just brushed off some excess from the brush onto kitchen roll. And I'm just touching up over the edges just to make sure it's not too heavily pigmented anywhere. And you can see it just kind of makes for a very interesting effect. And we'll add a little bit of this to the green elements as well. Just because why not? I am going to reserve this for any areas on the green for specifically any bits with like quite deep rivets or divots in the armour. So this is going over a green base, it's not going to show as bright as it would on the bronze. It's just a little bit of oxidization, and then what I will do as well is I'll add some rust. Because it's rather cool. For rust, I'm going to go in with contrast paint. You can do this with like base paint, but I'm going to go in with contrast paint. And I'm going to go in with Guilliman Flesh. Let's focus. There we go. Guilliman Flesh. I'm just going to touch that in certain areas on the green armour, mostly. And not really maintaining any real control over it, because, let's be honest, if it's too controlled, it looks a bit too heavily placed. And that's not really the look I'm going for. And I can go in and highlight and stuff later. But you can just see it just adds a little bit of something without being too much. Just a little bit over the skin. Oh, my cat jumping down off of something in my kitchen very loudly. What are you up to, cat? Hello, I heard the cat meowing. I don't know if you can hear that on the microphone. Hello. Hello. I've got 4 cats and one of them is very vocal at the moment. Hello. He's just demanding a little bit of attention. Better? Bless him. There we go. We'll leave it there for the rust placement. Oh, and we'll go in with the Druchii Violet now. And then we'll begin some highlights, and then we'll call it for tonight. So again, Druchii Violet and some water to really dilute it down. So I'll do the exact same mixture I did for the Caribou Crimson, which will be like 1 drop of shade paint to maybe like 3 drops water. 1, 2. Do just 2 drops actually. In fact, no, we'll try 3. Yeah, we'll go for 3. In fact, we might go for 2 drops of Druchii, just to make it show up a little bit on top of the Caribou without being too domineering. But I'm mainly focusing this around where there's any kind of muscly or veiny bits, just to kind of add a little bit of a shift in dimension as well. And there we are. I've placed it quite heavy around this bottom section because he's got some like pustules just down here on his hand. Just to make sure that looks a little bit more infected, I've gone in quite heavy with the Druchii there. And then a little bit here around the hand as well. But yeah, I'm actually really happy with how this figure is coming together. I think he looks very, very cool considering that we haven't even highlighted him yet and he's already looking pretty awesome. Right. Anyway, time to move on to some highlights. But we're going to mostly focus on highlighting his armor today, which should be a lot of edge highlighting mostly. And for that, I'm going to use the aptly named Nurgling Green. Could used to go in with like Stormhost Silver or something like that and do that with this. I might very well do that as well, but for now I'm going to go in with some Nurgling Green, see if I like it, and if I don't, I'll go in with Stormhost Silver. No, I think I like the Nurgling Green actually as the highlight. I'm strictly going to be doing edge highlighting with this though. Definitely like the Nurgling Green as a highlight. It just kind of, you can just see it just subtly amplifies it without being too distracting. Sorry, I'm talking too much. Just because I'm concentrating. It's a very nice highlight, to be honest. Thank you. It's a nice colour on its own, but I just think it works really well as a highlight for this particular armour. You can just see where I've placed it around it, like where I've done it around the bottom, around the top, around the edges. It just brings it together a bit better. Do a little bit along the chin of this helmet, I think. And then around the edges where the antlers join. Right. Happy with that. Now I'm going to move on to my highlights for my brass items, which I'm going to use Sycorax bronze for. And then I'll just do that and maybe my silver highlights if I have time. Which again, this is in the other colour that was used in the tutorial for tomorrow. And again, I was reminded just how much I love it. So I'm going to be using it again. There's kind of this like whole raised surface area here. Like, yes, I could have gone in and dry brushed this, and it would have picked this up as well. But there's nothing wrong with just going in with a brush like I am simply now. And just picking out those details. It just works really, really well. And what I've just done there is I've just focused it around the edge of the chainmail along the bottom with only a very small amount on my brush, and then whatever I've got left I've just kind of swept along or down the chainmail just to pick certain sections out without actually like painting it. But there we go. So our bronze area is highlighted. And now we're on to our silver highlights, which for that we're using, it's really hard to see in this light, but Stormhost Silver. Which the only real silver element is his barbed wire wrapped weapon. So really we're kind of focusing it on those peaks that stick out. And then I'm just taking it and dragging it very gently. There we are. In fact, I'm just going with a little bit more regular silver on this. Okay, I think the last thing to do now is we're going to add the moot green into the spiral on his arm, which is just here. So we'll do that in today's stream, and then we will do his skin highlights another time. His skin, his antlers, and his base. We'll do those together. Just because his skin will probably take me a while, because there's lots of stuff I want to kind of add to that. But we'll go in with moot green again for that spiral. And I want to go in with an even thinner brush than the one I've got now. So the cap back on that. Smaller and thinner brush. He looks like the average Redditor. Maybe that's why Nurgle chose him. But you can just see that green swirl just looks so much better. In fact, you know what? We'll quickly do his skin highlights. And then we'll call it for today's stream. And for that, I'm going to just mix Kislev flesh with a tiny bit of Pallid One flesh. So the exact same skin tone I used earlier with Flayed One flesh. Sorry, not Pallid One flesh. Which is the loincloth one we used for the base. Just to make it slightly lighter than what the skin is, without being too different. And I'm only very, very subtly like almost like barely touching my brush to the skin to do these highlights. Just because I want them to be really, really subtle. I don't really want them to take away from the detail we've added with the shade paint. And instead I kind of want to just draw attention to those areas subtly with the highlight. Like for example, you can just see it. What I've done here is I've just kind of gone around the claw, following like a vein. But yeah, I think that's probably it. And we will leave the figure at that. Where did my plastic cap go? There's my plastic cap. Just to protect my brushes, mostly from my cat. But yeah, that is it for today's stream. So thank you everybody who tuned in today. So that's great, that's cool, that's Rothmer obviously. We briefly had somebody else join us. Obviously Bo, thank you very much as well. And then Sindivs, thank you so much for joining as well. So yeah, thank you everybody who's tuned in today. It's been really, really great to obviously be back into streaming again, back into doing Darkwater again. More content like this coming over the next few days. Hopefully before Mr. Nerd goes back to work, I can have a majority of the Darkwater figures painted by then. If not, at least, well, on stream I'll paint one of each one, and then off stream I'll paint the rest, because I'm not going to make you guys sit there and, you know, work through 6 or so of the exact same figure. So again, thank you very much everybody. Hope you have a wonderful evening or day, whatever time of the day it is for you guys, and I'll see you guys